Hey, it's been a while, but here's another episode of What You Strappin', or rather, Watch You Strappin'. And these are not reviews, just wristwatch check of the day with strap of choice. And this is actually kind of a new one for me. It is the Airman, Glycine Airman No.1 in 36 millimeters. And it's just the Purist version, meaning there's no fourth GMT hand, and it just has it's a modified movement to show the time, one revolution a day in 24 hours. Uh, if you know glycine, you know what that's about. And I do prefer this model, this version over the GMT, just because, let's see, out of, I think, the 5 glycines I've owned, um, yeah, this would be the 4 out of 5 have always been Purist. The only one that wasn't was a DC4. You didn't have a Purist version available. Otherwise, I probably would have gotten it in that. But yeah, the Airman 42, the Airman DC. Wait, is it Airman 42? Then a DC4, and then Airman 18, and then the Chief that I had, or I still have, but I am selling that. And this right now, this is the Airman No.1, and it's got the off-white kind of creamish dial. It's kind of hard to decide which one to go with, but I did like the black version. Of course, that's very classic, but something about this seemed to stand out and look better to me. Anyways, it's just on the stock strap that it comes with. It's decent quality. Have I had or seen better? Sure, but it's not a bad strap. It's comfortable. It's thin, and that might be a complaint to some people because they might think, oh, it's kind of thin. But you know what? It really matches the style and the profile of this watch in a way. You know, it's vintage, and they never had. I my understanding is a lot of vintage watches used to have much very slim and thin straps anyway. So this definitely goes with that look. But certainly this is a strap monster, and you can be sure, especially with these episodes, that this thing will go on different straps for sure. It could go on something thicker too. I think that looks can accommodate actually a lot. Yeah, there was a choice between the 36, which is the classic, more true to vintage scale, or they have a 40 millimeter version, which I basically have in the Airman. The Chief that I have, the GL0251, and this is a GL0161. But yeah, if I'm being honest, I think I wanted to keep this truer to the original format and look, which is this color dial and everything about it and the scale. And I think it's kind of cool to have a GMT that's 36 millimeters. They rarely go down that small, in my opinion, especially anything made uh, in modern times. This is not a true vintage model. This is not actually from the early, mid 50s, which when these were originally made. But it retains much of the charm and the style of that, with the modern updates to the movement, and it's just newer. So you can be sure that this will last a good long time now. You don't have to worry about uh, I don't know, servicing and stuff for a vintage model. Yeah, and definitely the lug. You know, they're definitely. I mean, it's scaled proportionately as they go, as the airman sizes go up, like 40, even 39s, 42, 44, 45. I think it's the next size up. I think that's about as large as they get. But the lugs are always scaled proportionately, and so yeah, at 40 millimeters, like the Chief, that has 22 millimeter lug space. But I think this one works since it's at 20 millimeters for a 36. And, 36 might seem a bit small first, but when you factor in the rest of the case design, I find that things that are watches that are usually very flat, very low profile and stuff, can tend to actually wear a little bit larger than you think, just because of you know, it's just so low, and then everything, even though it's not necessarily a really big or wide watch, it tends to just, because it's so flat, it just looks like it just spreads out. Is it laterally? You know, just the surface wise, it just seems to spread out more, and so it looks, you know, something really thin and flat can look kind of wide in that sense, versus something that has a little bit of the same case size but taller may actually look kind of smaller, because the proportions are kind of visually, it goes, I guess, up instead of just out from the sides. You know what I mean? Anyways, so you take that into account. The lugs are a little bit wide and long, anyways, for this style of watch. But by no means is it crazy. Look, you know, look how well it fits. You know, it's about as good as you can get for something like that. And I think overall, this proportionately fits my 6.875-inch wrist, just under 7 inches, at least on the left hand, left arm. And I think it all works out quite well, scale-wise. So I got plenty of larger watches. So, anyways, whoops, sorry about the focus and stuff. That's about it. I don't want to get this too long. You can be sure to check this out later, and I'll get a review on this as soon as I've had it for at least a week or two. Yeah, and give you my thoughts on this. I'm sure there's plenty of videos already on you know, this kind of watch. Maybe not necessarily with this color, but I'll show you my my opinions as well. I do love the Airman series. All right, take it easy.